Hello everyone, hope you're doing great. My name is Rose. Today I'm going to talk about some work tips that I have. I recently got my third promotion in 2.5 years that I'm working, and I just wanted to share some tips about how I think you can grow, but I also want to be transparent that it cannot be the case for everyone, for every workplace, or for every field. Definitely think about it as, just use the ones or consider the ones that works best for you. Definitely, because I'm also testing some stuff. These are the things that I know by now that works great for my field, companies like mine, environments like mine. Not every place is perfect, but I'm really happy where I am, and I think I'm really being appreciated, which it can be not the case for everyone. And I understand that. I don't want to gaslight anyone about this, but want to just share some things that I think might help you in this path that you have. Some of these things you definitely know it already, but these 11 tips basically are combination of everything that I do daily, weekly, monthly, with the goal of promotion and growth in my work. So first of all, I want to tell you what was my starting position, what is my position currently, and what is the general hierarchy in our company. So I started as data scientist. Then the next one will be senior data scientist. I don't want to waste time writing everything. And then it's manager or supervisor data scientist. Then it's senior manager data scientist. Then it's associate director, data scientist. Then director, and then senior director, data scientist, and then you become VP of data science. So I started here 2.5 years ago, and now I'm here, current position. So I'm already planning for my next jump, which I think will happen if I stay in my current team. It will happen in a year or two, or even maybe in 3 years, but I think definitely in 2 years I will have that, which I think is a good jump for 4 years, 5 years, coming 5 steps above is great, I think. Okay, so the tips, 11 working tips. I also say if you don't want to do everything, because I know it can be very frustrating, some of the things, if you have to endure and do all of them 24/7. It can be really painful, but I will just tell you what I think are the most important ones. So the first one, which you kind of need to do it before your employment offer, before you sign it, which I didn't do, and I'm so happy that it turned out great and it didn't became the worst. The first one will be just company awareness, I can call it. So company awareness will be, you need to read the reviews on any website, whether it's LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Indeed, any place. And there's a section in LinkedIn that you don't have to buy the premium. Thank God for that, because it's expensive. But there's a section when you click on a company and then you go to the home section. When you come to the bottom of page, it says that how many senior hires they had recently, and then on the right side it says what is the average growth on this company, which I think they usually find that number by people who update their position, their title in LinkedIn. That's, I think, how they figure that number out, because no company is gonna tell like a random website what is their growth, and I think most companies don't even know that. But yeah, that's a section that says what is the average growth or tenure, something like the wording is like that. The average tenure in this company is like this many years. And for my company, I think when I started, it was something between 2 and 2.5 years. Yeah, something like two, almost 2. But now it growth higher, but I'm still being promoted every year, or twice in a year, which is great. But I understand. Personally, for myself, I right away signed my offer because I needed the job and I needed the money. But it's good to consider that and apply to those companies more. Or if you have multiple offers, that also can be one of the factors. If growth and promotion is important for you, you want to find companies that have less than 3 years of average growth. Some big companies have 7-9 years, which it can be very painful. I understand those companies usually give you a high salary when you want to start, but after a few years they just don't promote you. Usually the environment is very toxic, and the job is very boring, and the workload is huge, and they barely increase your salary. But the starting salary for most of those companies are really big. I just say that based on the things that I saw in my friends, or in what I read online in the reviews of different companies. Even though that I was promoted 3 times in 2.5 years, and I think I will be promoted in next year or 2. And I have a great team, great environment, great manager. Because of the recession, and also our company recently had layoffs, I try to apply for different jobs, not constantly, but I don't want to be out of it completely and then one day wake up and see that they fired me. I don't want to feel that betrayal. I just want to make sure that I'm a little close to applying processes and I have my resume updated, and just I can test the salaries, see what is competitive, what is not, what are the interview processes, to make sure I'm up to date. So definitely read the reviews. You want to look at that section in LinkedIn. Another thing is, this is really important when it comes to the next tips, because if this is not what you want, then it's very hard to do rest of the tips. And this is a team and environment awareness, because I think there are instances, and usually in most companies, your company might not be a good company, the environment might not be good, but the most important thing is your team, your manager, your environment. And you definitely need to know that not everyone's experiences in different teams, in different departments, or even in the same team are the same. people have different reactions, different behaviors, different work ethics. So it really is important whether the environment is toxic for you or not. And it really impacts the rest of the tips, but you don't know this until you start working there. And sometimes, even right now, I see that some of my coworkers might complain about some things or not as happy as I am about the management, which I understand. I'm getting promoted, but you don't know this truly till you start to work there. So it can be the first 3-6 months for you to figure out whether it's toxic or not. Then the next thing, which I think is one of the most important things, is that the first 6 months to a year is key. This is very important. The first 6 months, the first year, they don't have much expectation from you, whatever level that you are. If your level is higher, definitely it's not 6 months to a year, probably it's 3 months to 6 months, or a couple of months to 4 or 5 months. But the first 6 months is definitely key. If you're in lower position, till 1 year, you're good. But for higher position, you want to make sure that you adjust as soon as possible. This 6 months to a year is key to test the environment, be open to learn and new opportunities. And I think this is the time that you shouldn't be afraid to overwork and not even showing it off, because you might work hard. If you show off, it's going to be strange because you're not as productive. You cannot produce results the same speed as other people, so there's nothing to show off about that. Even though that you're working hard, that you yourself, how hard you're working and learning, and you're doing it as fast as you can, but to other people's eyes, they don't see that. So work hard, but don't show it off in the first few months. And that's the time that they don't, like, the expectations from you is very low. They don't give you much projects, or the projects that they give you is just you have to start it from somewhere and trying to figure out stuff. So it's a perfect time to learn and learn from other people. You have to be kind of like a sponge and trying to gather as much as information as possible. You have to be very organized with what you learn and trying to write it somewhere so you can review and learn it. You can buy a couple of online courses related to your field, especially if it's technical. I think it really matters, especially in a field like mine that is data. And try to just learn as much as possible, because I know the first year is going to be brutal. You have to overwork and it's bad. I don't like it. But after that, you don't have to overwork. You can do things in a few hours when it takes for other people a few days. And imagine it the other way. Imagine that you didn't work hard in the first 6 months and a year, and you didn't learn a lot of things. You didn't learn enough. After that, people expect from you. And when you don't know stuff, people are gonna say that you're in this company, you're in this team for a year, and you still don't know this. They're not gonna spend that much time for you trying to teach to you, or maybe they just briefly explain something to you, but they're not going into details. They're not gonna set up working sessions for you for basic stuff, for general stuff. So that's why I'm saying that this is the time that you're still a newbie, and people are gonna go to detail. They're gonna set up working sessions for you. They just want to give you as much as possible, because a lot of times people's opinion about this is that they might gatekeep some things, but in general they will give you the general stuff, the basic stuff, because they want you to come to the speed and lower their workload, because they're gonna dump some stuff on you once you learn it. If you know the basics and generals, they're gonna dump the work on you anyway. So it's better to know it rather than not knowing it, because people are gonna tell you, even if they taught something to you but you don't remember it, you didn't work hard enough on it, they're gonna come back and say, oh, I taught this to you like 2 months ago, go and review your notes, go and look at that. And it's too late, and it's not a good look. The fourth thing is that don't complain. I know you might see some bad things, you might see some unprofessionalism. If it's not too bad, don't mention it. Try to be as positive as possible. I know if it's too bad, if it's like going on your nerve, if it's driving you crazy, definitely say it. But if it's something that you can overlook, you cannot mention it, definitely don't mention it. Because even though that you might be correct, and that's probably the case that you're correct, you're seeing something being disorganized or unprofessional, but they're gonna like look at you like a nagger, because you just started in a company and you're starting to badmouth about like old employees that maybe are good employees in management eyes. So you definitely want to avoid this as much as possible. And even if you want to say something bad about someone or some work, try to find an unreasonable thing about that person or that work or that project in business eyes. Don't say that they talked to me that way, or they did this, they did that. You can say that, for the business, for the company, I don't think it's a good look for someone to talk this way or to do this or do that. It will make the client or this person or that person mad, or they're gonna be upset about this. Don't try to involve yourself in the situation. Try to look at it in a business, customer, company, client, different teams' eyes, that you're gonna mention that it's end up not being productive or not being useful, or it's going to be bad for the business and for the revenue for the team. Trying to change the manipulate the story to exclude yourself from it and look at it from reasonable side of it, business reasonable side of it, and then address the situation like that. Another thing is that always keep your words. If I say that I'm going to deliver something on Thursday, even if my estimation was bad and it's not going to be done on Thursday, I overwork, I do everything that I can deliver that on Thursday. And if something is going on that I think I might not be able to deliver it by Thursday, I will let them know as soon as possible, and I will tell them the reason as well, so that I can be transparent and they can trust my words. I think this is very important. Till now, I think this was really important. I think this is really important to me as well. Another thing is be very organized. I think you already know that. A lot of people already know that. You don't need to show this off. Don't try to show this off 24/7, but try to show that you're organized whenever it comes up, whenever that you want to talk about a project and everyone's not sure about what to talk about, what is going on, what happened in meeting that they had, then you can, bring up your notes or bring up your calendar, your if you're using the to-do list, you can show that, and then it will amaze them. Because not everyone can keep up with the things. Some people are just have good memories and are very well organized, and some people are not, or they try to be, but they cannot keep up with the work, especially if the pace is fast and the workload is high. So you definitely want to be organized if you have these two situations, or even one of them. 7 is that try to understand the team or leader or manager's goals. I not that you have to ask them. It depends on the manager. Some managers are very transparent, they explain things for you, they give you reasons. Some don't, but definitely I think after 6 months and a year of working with someone, and especially if your manager has multiple team members, you understand some things after a while. Like, I remember once my manager was just generally talking about someone, and just giving general feedback that this person helped me not to be worried about this project, and I don't even know that what is going on in the project. So I kept that in my mind, and to me it sound, because I was in the project earlier and I knew how messy it was, and the manager was involved in it daily. But once that person took over, he was less involved, but things were still moving forward. So I kept that in my mind, and it translated in my mind that he wants someone to trust and to lead projects without involving and bugging him too much, which I try to do that in the next, after, like, in the first year I realized that. In the next 2 years that I'm still working there, I try to keep that in my mind. And I know some people in our teams have weekly or every couple of days one-on-one with him, which I recently realized that it's too much for him and it's driving him crazy, because he's managing more than 7-8 people. But I have once a month one-on-ones. And the first year, like the second year that I was here, he was even like begging me that whenever you have anything to say, like, don't feel bad about like scheduling a meeting one-on-ones with me. But I didn't put one-on-ones with him because of the project, that it was messy and we were involved together. I was seeing him like every week anyway, so I could tell him what were my issues, and I didn't have anything to hide. So I was very transparent about what is the situation on this project, what I think about it, and what is going on in general. And I try to be very cautious of his time, and I see that he really appreciates me and understands that. He told me a few times that I'm very independent, but kind of like gives me this vibe that other team members are not like that, and he doesn't like it. So I know that I have to keep what I'm doing right now and try to just have one-on-ones once a month, or if I have something urgent, if there's something that cannot wait for that monthly meeting, I definitely will let him know that, can you talk today or tomorrow, I want to talk about this. And then we just like put a 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and I tell him it's going to take like 10 minutes or 20 minutes. I try to like predict, because he has a very busy schedule and he really appreciates that. So I think that is really also important, to understand what are their goals, what is that they like, what is that they don't, and you try to do it. Another thing that I also mentioned is that be independent and dependable at the same time. I think managers and team leads love this, that you can be independent and you don't need lots of collaboration, because you already did your most of your collaboration and you know your stuff, even stuff from other teams, other projects. And also you can be dependable. They can give you a project and you can come back in a couple of weeks and say, I wrapped it up, and I can send it straight to the person who wants to have that project, and it doesn't even have to check my work or maybe just skim through it, which I think managers would love that. Another point is, this is very important, is open to learn and opportunities. Oh, I have to write. Ask people to teach you so you can help and cover for them when they are out of office, or when they're sick, or when they're working on something. Because nowadays a lot of people are good at what they're doing. I think it's the case for most employees in different companies, in different fields, but most employees are not good at connecting the dots when it comes to projects that needs collaborations, or they just know their work, their project. They are not aware of different teams and different projects. If you have a good overlap with other teams, other projects, that will help you grow, because in managers or companies' eyes, you are a useful role. You have a useful role that can consult, that can play a role as consultant and give people's tips and suggestions and drive projects and come to higher positions. Because when you go higher in your position, people expect you to also have some knowledge from other teams, other projects, other fields in your company, so you can articulate your reasons, your project, in different levels of information and knowledge, which I think is really important to growth. Another tip is performance evaluation. I just want to let you know that performance evaluation, it definitely depends on your manager, whether it's toxic, the environment is toxic or not. But if you had a good performance evaluation or bad performance evaluation, that doesn't mean that you're going to be promoted or not. Performance evaluation is usually how you're ranked in a team, how you're ranked in your company, or in people that do similar projects. And you should use that as a feedback to be better, or understand what not to do moving forward, or what you need to keep doing moving forward. But other than that, it's not going to make or break your promotion, in my experience and in my eyes. You just have to use it as a learning point, and try to improve yourself for the growth that you have in your mind. The next and last tip, which is also very important, is learning the hierarchy. Learn the hierarchy and responsibilities. Some companies might not have this. Our company has a document that shows you what is the hierarchy of each position, that I also listed in the beginning of the video, and also gives you a responsibility and requirements for each of those positions. So each time that I'm promoted to a position, I will go and look at that document, or if your company doesn't have such a document, you can find it online for your field, for your positions and see what are the general responsibilities and requirements. And I try to read from the lowest position till my position and make sure that I know all those things, I covered all those things, I have all the requirements, I do all the responsibilities. And then I look at the next two positions that are above me and read their requirements and responsibilities, and basically learn what are the things that I can start doing it on my current position right now. And then when it comes to your performance review or when it comes to promotion, people will say that, oh, this person is in this position, but she's already doing responsibility and requirements of one position above her, so she definitely needs to be promoted. That's what happened to me this year, that I was promoted 2 levels. It was because in my performance evaluation, my manager he gave me a feedback that I should try to do this or do that. I think he was kind of preparing me for the next promotion for next year, that you need to start doing some of the management work, some of the supervisor work with doing XYZ. And I told him that I'm already doing that for a year, but I'm managing some stuff, but I'm not able to push it as hard as I should, just because I don't have the position, and I didn't know that you want me to do those management works. But I'm doing it for a year. I just haven't been able to push it completely because I had lower position than I had I have a manager, and before my promotion I had my manager, and then I had a supervisor, and it was me. So I was senior data scientist, my manager was VP, and then I had a supervisor who was manager, senior manager. And it was like, I'm already doing this, I'm managing like my coworker, but I'm already doing this, so what should I do? You want me to start doing it for the next year so I can be prepared to be in management, but I'm already doing it in a year. So he was really surprised that I was doing that, and I think that was one of the things that made me jump two positions. So it's definitely very important for you to learn that you're covering all the positions for yourself, for your current position and below, and then you want to make sure that you're also doing some of the things, or you're preparing yourself for some of the things in the next position. So you need to start doing it in your current role with doing some of the management styles, leading some of the projects, pitching some of the projects that you want to do, and just give your manager the idea that this can be useful for the business, or this can be useful for our processes, so we can do this faster or better or more accurate. And yeah, I think that was it. I talked a lot. I'm sorry about that, but I hope these 11 tips will help you. These are definitely helping me. I don't want to gaslight anyone. It definitely depends on the environment, on your manager, on your team members. But I think the most important ones are number 3, 5, 9, and 11. If you don't want to do all of this and it's too much, definitely you want to do these few points. And I hope I can see some of your comments about if you have any feedbacks, if you have any suggestions, if you have any questions, if you share some of the stories that you had in your experience, that how you learned what to do or what not to do in your work. That would be awesome. That will also help me in my next position, and I would love to hear those things from you. Thank you very much. Hope you're having a great day. Bye bye.